Today is Thursday, June 14th, 2023, and today is the last day uh, for me because this is weekend because tomorrow is a day off only for me. And the problem is I have nothing to do, but I am interested in the arms trade. So I pulled off this article from the internet a moment ago. I've never read this one before. I would like to understand some dealings on the arms by reading this article, and also I will read it carefully with a lot of attention on pronunciation, and also I will try to memorize any expressions that I deem usable in my future conversations or interactions with English speaking foreigners. So it's a dual pronged academic approach. Here we go. This article is from corruptiontracker.org. It's not a .com, so it's an organization. They have a presence on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Catch Compendium on Arms Trade Corruption Highlights. Almost catch. How to Profit from the Global Arms Trade. Author Jack Cinnamon. Editors B. Arneson, Ruth Rode. March 20th, 2023. Page contents. TLDR. Dramatis personae. Seller country, buyer country, equipment, the contract, investigations, conclusion, bibliography, like anthology in the poems, photo, Marco Verge via Flickr CC BY 2.0. TLDR, be rich, know people, pay them money, sell them arms, get richer, be rich, know people, pay the money, sell them arms, get richer. Want to escape the 9 to 5 corporate capitalist trap? Do you want more adventure and travel? Do you want a global circle of friends to profit off of? Why not become an arms dealer? If the answer is yes, it must first be recognized that the global arms trade is a multi-billion-dollar industry. To profit from it, you must first understand three things. One, you are not here to provide security. You are here to make money. Two, you will make money as long as people believe you provide security. So more fear equals more money. Three, security requires nothing more than secrecy. And more secrecy equals more opportunities for making money. The imposition of national security is the justification required to keep various aspects of the arms trade secret. Imposition of national security, the imposition of national security. And this lack of transparency fuels corruption, a lucrative area for a war profiteer, and an area which you will rightfully exploit. Lucrative area for war profiteer. Japan was a war profiteer when there was the Korean War. When the Korean War broke out, the Japan supplied a lot of lucrative arms to Korea via America, and they cashed in a lot of money. The Japan was a war profiteer, and it helped boost their economy. It helped build their own economy, man. War profiteer. Arms trade, transparency, the imposition of national security. Obviously, without encouraging illegal activity, the guide below demonstrates how to profit from a corrupt arms deal. dramatis personae. You may discover that becoming a middleman, also known as agents or intermediaries, is the most efficient route to a big payday in the arms trade, especially if you lack the specific qualifications or experiences needed for a LinkedIn profile. Depending on their specific role, middlemen work as either private individuals or are hired by well-known defense companies to bring buyers and sellers together to help push a particular tender. I interacted with Northrop Grumman, Khaki, SGT, and who else? Northrop Grumman. Yeah, General Dynamics. They were good companies. In this regard, it is, and what is it? It starts with S. I forgot the company name. It's a famous company that starts with S. They are present in Korea too. In this regard, it is critical to establish yourself as a highly connected individual, similar to Kardashian, as the who you know element will be your main qualification. In fact, the position is only feasible through a certain network of friends with benefits, which unfortunately means if you don't have any friends, you can either stop reading this and invest in some self-help books, or you could buy a summer house in Switzerland, making sure you have all the right neighbors to introduce yourself to. I think it gotta be just TO2, right? When you choose your friends, make sure, for general public, this is wrong. This is 2, right? When you choose your friends, make sure they are the type of individuals who have access to the country's procurement process, politicians, high-ranking government officials, arms industry officials, or military personnel. Look for the friends who seem to be in a constant midlife crisis, the ones who have an affinity for nice cars. In order to effectively communicate with said officials, you must use the act of persuasion. Man, it's like illegal. You are encouraging illegal route, but I like it, man. Said personnel's affinity. They have an affinity for nice cars. You must use the act of persuasion. Methods of persuasion could include anything, simply paying bribes to the gifting of brand new luxury cars, Cuban cigars, and designer handbags, or procuring sex workers for your honored guests. If you are really lucky, the officials will be high-ranking, so you also have the option of embezzling public funds. Of course, after you use your contacts to secure the deal, it is crucial that you are also reimbursed for your efforts, usually by receiving an excessive commission payment or by receiving a percentage of the final contract. A middleman with more entrepreneurial spirit like yourself may even demand commissions from both the buyer and the seller, taking inspiration from recent high-profile arms dealers such as Victor Bout, aka the Merchant of Death. the merchant of Death. So we learn the expressions as lucrative deals, corruption, bribes, honored guests, sad personnel. You must use the act of persuasion. And what else? Gift, anything include the set of midlife crisis. Seller country. To begin, you should seek a role promoting a deal from one of the states with nuclear weapons. The United Nations Security Council's UNSC 5 permanent members is a good place to start. The United States, US, 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 US. France, the United Kingdom, UK, China, or Russia. These countries, along with Germany, account for roughly 80% of all arms exports. The US is a perfect go-to-given that it accounts for 37% of all global exports. Ironically, the UNSC members not only produce and ship the most weapons, but they and their resident arms companies also carry an impressive portfolio in facilitating corruption around the world. In the long run, this will be advantageous because the negative consequences of the arms trade can now be attributed to the state rather than your role as an arms dealer. Annoyingly, you may be slightly hindered by some international laws and agreements developed by the international community, whatever that means, man, to regulate the sale of weapons, such as the Arms Trade Treaty. Annoyingly, that's a good expression. Annoyingly, whatever that means is another good expression. Whatever that means, regulate the sale of weapons. But that's nothing a good conflict of interest or a bribe can't fix. Moreover, most of the exporting nation, the conflict of interest, that's nothing a good conflict of interest or bribe can't fix. That's another good expression. Let's remember this. But that's nothing good conflict of interest or bribe can't fix. Moreover, most of the exporting nations that signed on to the treaty appear to be unconcerned about the harm these weapons cause to people around the world. Plus, they show a complete reluctance to investigate corruption in their domestic arms companies. It is extremely profitable for arms companies to sell new weapons overseas when the government has already paid for their development. And what if your weapons are old and useless? There are few rules in this game, so you can probably sell weapons that have already expired, such as broken helicopters. By a country, the vast majority of countries in the world purchase arms. However, the less politically stable countries with weaker public institutions, countries in active conflict, or where military coups are common. Let me stop here and look for the exact pronunciation for this. Military coups, not coups. I think military coups. P is silent. Let's find that out. Because it's short for coup d'etat, right? I'm using this app. I really like it. What is coip? Sounds like coitus. Intercourse. Coup. Sudden coup, right? Sudden successful stroke.
Coup.
Revolution takeover.
Coup. 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 Coup.
Coup.
Coup.
Coup. Coup.
Coup.
Coup.
Coup.
Coup.
Coup. Coup.
Why coup, man? Like a coupon and coupon.
Coup.
Coup. Coup d'etat.
Listen.
Damn, coup d'etat.
Listen.
Damn. Where were we? Yeah, military coups are common. Will be more prone to regular corruption in the procurement of weapons. This corruption is obviously facilitated by the economically richer arms exporting countries, but it is really important to blame the countries in the global south in order to maintain a little status quo and keep the global arms trade machine running. Yeah, global south and global north. That's good, important term. Global South means your country is poorer than average. Global North means your country is richer than average, the rest of the average. So Korea is global North, America global North, North Korea global South, China I think global Middle, global North, Mongolia global South, Colombia global South, Venezuela much south, Saudi Arabia much higher north. It is also important to advocate for deals in countries where there is a strong desire to militarize, as the increased frequency of procurement deals will give you a better chance of securing one. At the regional level, Asia and Oceania accounted for 43% of arms imports in 2017 to 21. India and Saudi Arabia are the largest importers in the world, with 11% each of the share of the global arms imports. Wow, India and Saudi. These countries have massive internal inequalities and large militaries that require a constant supply of weapons and other military equipment to construct external threats and maintain their capabilities. Expectedly, these states also come with a high vulnerability to corruption, where agents like you are commonly used to secure contracts. Major exporters actively pursue arms deals with corrupt regimes, increasing the potential for corruption through middlemen and in turn making more money. If you are at a loss of how to conceal your bribes, a time-fashion trick that works almost everywhere is to just fund people's political campaigns. Time-fashioned trick. Here, there gotta be a hyphen is missing, right? A time-fashioned trick. A age-old trick. Another expression is an age-old trick or time-fashioned trick. A time-fashioned trick. Time-fashioned trick. Time-fashioned trick. Politicians in the North and South will be equally grateful. Here, North-South means global North and global South. Will be equally grateful for the much-needed cash boost they deserve for helping you make more money. Yeah, cash boost. Cash boost. Cash boost. Cash boost. Most importantly, you cannot be sympathetic to human rights challenges. You are selling death and destruction tools, and you cannot be concerned about the indiscriminate killing of innocent people when they are used. You cannot be sympathetic to human rights challenges. You are selling death and destruction tools. You are selling death and destruction tools, and you cannot be concerned about the indiscriminate killing of innocent people when they are used. Your corrupt arms deals are making the world less safe, but do not let silly humanitarian feelings override your obviously genuine need for profit. In fact, you should be actively intending to sell weapons to human rights abusers, as there will be a more consistent revenue stream as heightened tensions or conflicts are a purpose of a profit. And anyway, if you didn't sell these weapons, someone else would, for sure. So next time you meet an arsonist, be sure to bribe them for the privilege of buying a lighter off of you. Bribe them for the privilege of buying a lighter off of you. At the end of the day, you are in an immoral business, wholly guided by the invisible hand of market, as nature intended. These weapons will likely divert into the illicit market into the hands of individuals and collectives, such as guerrilla groups or mercenaries. But you are not responsible for induced monitoring and have no care for the arms diversion process that may occur. Your concern is the short-term profit, getting the deal over the line. Induced monitoring. But you are not responsible for induced monitoring. I have to look it up later. Induce means you just guide something to happen remotely, seductively. Equipment. The huge, technically complicated structure of significant arms sales is one facet of the arms trade that works in your favor. Global arms trade corruption expands to all forms of weapons transfers, from howitzers, and bomb detectors. However, to make significant profits, you must trade in larger commodities. Major combat aircraft, tanks, helicopters, frigates, and submarines have become notorious for in major arms deals where corruption tends to be routine. The transfer of specialized equipment as part of the deal may also have an impact on the size of the bribes connected in order to secure the contract's parameters. The larger the commodities, the larger the bribes. Also, because of the scarce nature and frequency of such larger equipment transfers occurring, pushing these deals comes with a greater reward. Even better if these deals are accompanied by unsustainable maintenance contracts that have the potential for inflation. This would be a real expert move on your behalf and could lead to greater commission for securing the deal. Man, the contract. Obviously, the greater the contract value, the greater the opportunity for bribes. The arms trade is competitive, but money talks and the bullshit walks. The larger the deal and the larger the bribes, the less likely the contract will be refused. Although these larger deals are traditionally driven by more notorious middlemen like BAE Systems Ambassador King Charles III of Britain, if you can prove your worth in efficiently hiding bribe payments, there is no reason you cannot also profit. Certain responsibilities of your role will require the facilitation of corrupt transactions using shell companies and offshore accounts to hide illicit funds. Offshore accounts. Shell companies. Right? Shell companies. It's a shell companies and offshore accounts. Shell companies and offshore accounts. Shell companies and offshore accounts to hide illicit funds. Your role will require the facilitation of corrupt transactions using shell companies and offshore accounts to hide illicit funds. Presidents, prime ministers, government officials, monarchs, high-profile oligarchs, rock stars, celebrities, and many more already benefit from funneling and siphoning these funds away in these jurisdictions through the use of anonymous companies, shell companies. There is no reason you cannot do so similarly, but you must research the nature of such financial malfeasance, learning how best to conceal bribe payments and other assets exchanged in securing the deal. Malfeasance, financial malfeasance, right? Funneling and siphoning these funds, malfeasance. It is necessary to understand effective methods of money laundering, how to handle the financial side of corrupt transactions, and effectively ensure the trail of payments are as hard to trace as possible. These accounts must be difficult to prove and investigate in order to throw off noisy investigators researching financial malfeasance from stumbling upon payments into any offshore companies or Swiss bank accounts. Yeah, offshore companies. You need to have shell companies, offshore companies to fund, to handle initial illicit funds, funneling, siphoning, and malfeasance investigations. Corruption in the arms trade is a complex and often opaque issue. It is opaque, not transparent, and it can be difficult to identify all of the actors involved in any given case. And this is a pattern you can take advantage of. The element of secrecy remains the foundation to the level of trust required in the business. Trust is a critical component in securing the deal, but an expose of the deal and its fine details could cause a political scandal, and we all know there is little loyalty when the political elite intend to retain power. Politicians alleged with good evidence of receiving bribes to secure deals seem to consistently avoid prosecution. But of course, there are rare cases in which a corrupt arms deal can lead to criminal charges and proceedings, and if convicted, be prepared to serve a lousy sentence. Luckily for you, in this sector, there is little punishment and huge profits. The arms company may themselves agree to pay a weak fine on your behalf as an out-of-court settlement, which will most likely be minuscule amount in comparison to the size of the deal. Minuscule amount would be a minuscule amount in comparison to the size of the deal. But this relies on you keeping your lips tightly shut. I have to go to work. I will stop here and come back to the rest of the article. Bye-bye.